Here are my peonies. They were beat down the other night in the storm pretty bad, but they are still glorious. I am always enthralled by them. They're starting to finish up. Not a whole lot of blooms yet to open, but so lovely. Yeah, you can see how they were really beat down in there. Yeah. I only have one of the pretty white irises blooming right now. They were amazing, as were these that I call the sunrise irises that are all done on this side. But now we have gladiolas that are coming up and not opening yet, but they are coming up. You can see them all through there. They'll be pretty later. I have two kinds of pansies. I have these, and some of the blooms are solid pink with a little bit of white in the center, and some of them have these awesome big tufty centers. Most of the ones that didn't have the tufty centers are already bloomed. Here's one way down here, or already fallen actually. Here's one way down here that doesn't have the white tufty thing. You can kind of see it. Yeah. I have another kind of peony right here, and they are still quite lovely. Yeah, they are. They are a blessing to me. My yard is a blessing to me as a whole. My cat is up on the eave of the house meowing at me, saying, "Get me down from here, Mom." But he knows how to get down. Yes, he does. My front yard is still blooming quite a bit, and I set out zinnias. I will plant some more zinnias. I have seeds left over from last year. My azaleas are done. My Dutch iris, the blue ones, most of them have already bloomed and closed. But what I see is that the yellow ones are getting started. The white ones haven't put out any buds yet that I can see. We thought we had lost this bush, but it is coming back on, and that's awesome. Yeah, it is. I've gotten a lot of my house plants out. I still have to bring 3 more pots out. I've gotten a lot of my house plants out into the dry creek bed. Yeah, sometimes it's not a dry creek bed, sometimes it's a wet creek bed. And I have a cat coming down the tarp that my husband has. Oh, and it's wet. And he is thinking he wants to come over here to where Mama is. I put in mostly begonias this year, and then I brought the other plants out behind them. I have a peace lily in bloom. But yeah, I have lots of colors, different colors. I'm not sure what color this one is. It's one I grew from a cutting, rooted from a cutting. This one has 2 that I grew from rooting. Yeah, this one is finally starting to bloom. It is, and it's an orangey looking one. How cool is that? The yellow one is starting to bloom as well. Yeah, so I have 3 more. I have 1 to put in there, 2 more, and 1 to put in there. And then I'll have my house plants all out here enjoying the summer. These all are plants that don't like a lot of sun. They like a little sun, and they get a little in the late afternoon and a little in the very early morning, and that's all they get. And they like it that way. Yeah. I need to clean out this bed of periwinkle. It's becoming aggressive, and yeah, it needs to be cleaned, taken away. And I have the plants from winter that have been in my walkway up there where the begonias are in the winter. There's a one that needs to go out. And here is a cat and a cedar that has fallen down, but it needs to go out as well. I don't know where it's going to go yet. We haven't made determination where the cedar or the arborvitae are going to go. The cat goes wherever he pleases. Yep. And this is a little Alberta spruce. And the cat is getting ready, it looks like, to pounce. Nope, changed his mind. Yeah, he pretty much goes where he pleases. I have all but lost these camellias. The one over there is coming back, but this one, there's a little tiny bit right at the bottom. I'm going to cut this out eventually if it doesn't grow at all. And it doesn't look like it's going to. The other one just started coming out, so I'm hoping this one will. And the moonflowers did not come back in here this year, so I'll have to put some of them in if that happens. That it doesn't come back and my moonflowers come up. I put in herbs here in this little bitty place this year, and I've got one in a pot sitting there. I had that huge rosemary in here, and I've planted a rosemary, and if it gets big like the other one, then I just won't put the other herbs in. But I put the tarragon and the common basil and then some sweet basil in a pot. This is a jasmine. I have two jasmine. I have this one right here. And then I have the one that's out on that pole out there behind the pennies. Yeah. My bougainvillea is starting to turn from pale pink to the deeper color that it enjoys during the summer. You can kind of see that right there. And I still have a lot of stuff to put in gardens, as you can see. I'm in transition. Yeah. I think I'm going to repot this lime tree. Last year I only got about 7 limes off of it. About 7. I got 7 limes off of it. Usually I get a dozen, 14 to enjoy during the winter, but last year not so much. I still have my flower pot that is configured for winter, and it has a rosemary in the middle of it. I don't know how soon they'll start waning, but as soon as they do, I will take that out and the plants out of it and plant some summer stuff. Probably impatiens and maybe I don't know what I'm going to put in there. The rose is quite lovely. It is. It had a lot to come over because everything died back. Normally it doesn't lose its foliage, but everything died during that horrendous freeze we had in February. Yeah. No, get out of there, Mardigan. He's always at my feet and he's drinking out of my plants and he's going to knock them over because that's what he does. Yeah, he's a cat. He does about what he pleases. Yeah, my marginata is okay. I may cut this forward tall one off They always send out new ones if you cut them off. Down here at the bottom, you can see where I cut one off last fall. It is sprouting a new place on that. And they do that. Yeah, they do. This is a chair I made last year. And it's quite comfortable, actually. It's made out of bamboo. And it sits out here on my little patio by my kitchen window, which becomes a fairly delightful space. Yeah, it is a delightful space. Yeah. And it's shaded by this huge red crepe myrtle. Let me scoot back a little more even. And the crepe myrtle was supposed to be 8 to 10 foot high, and it's really a big one. It's an overachiever. Many of my plants become overachievers. Yes, they do. This is my baby bus, and it's becoming a little travel art van, and I'm excited about it. And I'll come over here and show you my side gardens real quick. There's not much to see in them right now. There's my yellow rose. I have trouble getting yellow roses to be yellow roses. They all start out as yellow roses, and over a couple years they change. This one is very pale, but at least it is still a pale yellow rose. Yeah, and it's got a lot of buds. This one also lost all of its foliage, and we had to cut it way back because it didn't even come back out. But now it's sent up new canes, and they are beautiful. My Althea and Rose of Sharon have not yet started to bloom or to put on buds, but they will be amazing in time. This end rose did not get to bloom this year. This one has been just gorgeous. The bad storms the other night kind of knocked it down a little. But now the roses are turning their faces, some of them up again, and more are blooming. Yeah. When it's all done, I'm going to cut it way back and let it come back. It all died off, but then it began putting out stuff. We were going to cut it clear down, and it began putting out stuff. I usually trim it after it's done because it's a one-time bloomer. Yeah. This one blooms all summer, and the roses are just amazing. They're huge, and they're lovely, and it just keeps blessing me all summer long. Yep. It's a little deeper red. This is more of a magenta red. Yeah. I have an orange rose here, and it's looking just really lovely. And yeah, it is. It's looking quite lovely. So things have overcome the horrible freeze that we had. I have 3 chrysanthemums that have come back. We had 4 in here, and one of them didn't come back. We have a gardenia that died, and it is trying very hard to come back. We have a lot of gladiolas all through this little garden. And right here on the end is a rose of Texas, a yellow rose of Texas that my friend gave me. And I have not yet gotten to see it put on any buds, but It came up, it died way back, and then we started seeing it coming back. So I think it's going to live. So yeah, that is my messy, in progress yard that is transitioning from winter to summer along with my sunroom. Yep. This right up here, and I will show it to you. I haven't shown you the backyard, but it's a pretty big mess because we're doing a shed. But we'll bring that in later. This Jane, every time the weather changes, it will put on new buds and give me another show of beautiful pink flowers. And after the bad storm the other night, it put on buds. I've never seen another Jane that does it. I haven't seen one in town that does it. But this one does. I think it had to struggle so hard to be alive because that poor tree was run over so many times by people and knocked down. And so once it made it, it said, by golly, I'm going to live my life to the fullest. Okay. With that, I'm going to stop this. And I hope that you have an awesome day filled with things that make you thankful and give you ideas for stuff that can be and should be in your world.